For 4 years in a row, Orlando Pirates have won the MTN 8. And that fact, the fact that they had won it 3 times before this final, is one of the reasons why they actually won it. Because as we're about to look at how Stellenbosch were planning to attack Orlando Pirates and how Pirates struggled to deal with this, you will then see why their coach Steve Barker then ended up making one huge mistake, which Orlando Pirates then capitalized on. Because if you're a good team, you also see the other team making mistakes and you capitalize on that. It's not that one team was bad or one team made a mistake and then it ended there. It's also about one team made a mistake and then the other team capitalized on it. So let's look at exactly what that is. And when you get to a point where you enjoy the video, do make sure to subscribe to the channel. So let's look at how Barnes and Enginaya on the right of Stellenbosch were planning to play. So as you can see here, you have Sanele Barnes on the right hand side. And now he's basically tucked in, and the person on the right hand side is Enginaya, the right back of Stellenbosch. In front of them, you have Umuchela and also you have De Jong. So this dynamic of these players would then be able to combine, and Usanele Barnes would get into positions like this and be able to attack and take shots at goals. But this is not just one example, because you see here, it was always the case. Sanele Barnes in front, Enginaya behind him, with that understanding. One goes forward, De Jong is also there as I counted him as well. And that triangle was always there. And what that did, it kept Orlando Pirates attackers honest. You see, that is the triangle. So what is happening here? You have Relem Fukeng having to drop to be in that position, which means if Relem is dropping, that means Pirates' attack is not really that threatening at this moment in any case. So then you can see that Barnes, De Jong, and sometimes it would be Enginaya, the three of them, they are there and they are just combining in those tight spaces, and they are pulling Pirates players with them in the process. And there was even an opportunity that Barnes got when he was pressing in that, when they were playing and combining in that area, and they ended up taking a shot, but they didn't score. You see again, Barnes and Enginaya combining in that area. The ball is played to Barnes, and when Barnes gets the ball, what then happens is that the ball is progressed into the central areas. Now, what you need to also see is that you have Muchela there, who has dropped off defenders, and in him dropping off defenders, he has basically created that space behind the center back, because now Siema is pushing up to press him, and now Devin Titus can go and attack in that space. Now, you notice that I'm not talking about Sanele Barnes anymore. I'm also talking about Umuchela, who I counted when I started with this. And note also the fact that I'm talking about him dropping and going to play the ball, which confused Pirates in a way, because they had to work hard to stop this. But what happens now is that Muchela then finds a way of playing the ball to Mdaga, who then crosses the ball into the area. Now, Titus, if he was in a better, he did better, they would have gotten a chance, but they don't. So now Stellenbosch are once again attacking, and they're in those areas, and De Jong, as you can see, since Barnes basically was like a magnet, not a magnet, was like the player that Stellenbosch were playing through in a way, or he was very useful because he can keep the ball, he can dribble. He would then draw people to his side like that, and that would create space, as you can see. That would create space because players are coming too tight on him, and you have Mfukeng and you have Hoto being drawn in to basically drop deep and mark. And then the first problem happens. They take off Umuchela. And as they take off Umuchela, they kill the dynamic, because the very first touch of Cupido, he gets the ball, he loses the ball. Why is this vital? Why is his first touch so important? Because you see, I just talked to you about how Muchela was combining with Abo Barnes and was moving away from the Pirates' goal and creating space in behind so that Stellenbosch could create. But the moment is out, Cupido is now losing the ball, and Vele Pirates defenders at this point, once again, since the coach was taking advantage of Stellenbosch, he sees that, okay, this one is weaker with holding up the ball or being, playing under pressure. So they press him, right? They press him, they win the ball, and then they now try to transition. Now, since there is Cupido in the box, you see Enyenaya even himself tries to now play balls directly into the box. And it doesn't end here, because you see again, it's the same situation. They are no longer playing the ball now. They are trying to play the ball into that space. By the way, this time around here, this chance all was a half chance because Pirate made a mistake. But they didn't capitalize on it because, they were just, when you are kicking the ball high, you are also just being hopeful. And Pirates were smart to this, and it wasn't doing anything to them. And you see, once again, they keep on kicking the ball because now the players who are supposed to play, Umjela, has now gone off, and they're now trying to target the person who is in behind. But Upans at this point was still in the match and was still finding himself in those areas where buys and outlets, and Enginaya was also still attacking. Look at how high he is as a right back. And then they are still playing the ball, and they are still finding themselves in the situations where they are playing. This is another chance where still is play, and look at where Muchela is. He's holding the width, making Pirates think twice. Even Apolis was there. He has to be dragged across. They create a chance, and then things are just looking like Stellenbosch. They have momentum now. They can go at Pirates. They can kill Pirates. I get then things move from bad to worse, because one, they've taken a striker who was good at dropping and playing the ball and allowing a striker, a winger like Titus, to make runs in behind. But now what do? They take off Muchel, they bring on Lesibanku. And then they also take off Enyenaya and they bring on Umukobot. Now, the issue with this is that the moment they come on, Pirates realize two things. Umukoboti, by the way, is a midfielder. So when they played him as the right back, he was told a simple thing: go sit. You are not going to attack. You are going to sit as a right back, which means two problems. That means now you are not moving up, which is what Enyenaya was doing, which now invites pressure from Pirates. And Pirates were brilliant at doing this, because they were now like, we're going to attack you. And attack them they did. Because you see, this is Hoto. He's now in this area which was not very much that was happening. Now the ball was being played behind, but this time Okobodi recovered. And once again, you find the same situation here. This was the ball being played after Stellis took off Pants. See, the ball goes forward. You see how isolated he is. Usually by now you would see a triangle, you will see Diong, you will see Pants or Enaya being close to him. But Cupido is now isolated. He's on his own. And by the time they come to him, Pirates have already won the ball. And now what are Pirates going to do? They are now going to launch the ball long behind that space. And when that happens, Pirates are now threatening. They throw the ball. These aerial balls are not winning at all. And then Pirates win the ball and they transition and they hit them hard. And this ended up being a cross that Pirates missed. They try again. They go long, but there's no control. They just keep on going long. And Pirates at this point were stopping those long balls because they see that this is the only way that they are playing. Once again, Cupido wants the ball played in behind that space, but Pirates defenders are very smart. If you look at this graphic, one thing that you see is that Barnes was playing on that side. He was attacking that side. But now what you are seeing is the triangle of Orlando Pirates that you see on the right of the screen. That triangle includes the three subs that Pirates made. Because one, we have Apolis, you have Moremi, and then you have we have Apolis far left, you have the striker here, Umabasa, and then you have Moremi. Now look at where they are. You see that he's not deep and defending closer to his goal, but he's in a position whereby he's ready for them to win the ball. Why is he ready to win the ball? There is no punch to track. Enyina is not pushing up. So that means now Pirates can be in this area and be in an area where they can be ready to defend, because all of the other players are basically, the right back is staying back. And then if you are looking for Unku, who came on for Pans, he's now deeper into midfield, inverting rather than staying wide and keeping the wide players of Pirates honest. But that doesn't happen. And Pirates now, when they win the ball in this situation, they're able to transition. And what ended up happening is that Stellenbosch with this defending, they got tired and they were doing stupid things. Like For starters, when I saw that these guys are tired, look at this thing. Here, the ball was going this. Yeah. After this, you will see that the ball is Mutaga could go for that ball, but it doesn't go for that ball, ends up being a throw. And when he kicks it, the ball gets intercepted. And when the ball gets intercepted, Pirates now start transitioning and then they end up forcing a corner. But we're not at the goal yet because we're about to be there. Because now, again, this thing of still is wanting to play the ball long. They started here. They play the ball long, but Pirates block the ball. And they intercept the ball in midfield because Stellies, as I said, were now tired because their system was not working. It was just kick the ball forward. But Pirates were very smart to this. Stop the ball. Transition, because when they kick the ball long, they try to follow it. They leave gaps behind. So what happens is they intercept the ball and now they're attacking. Now look at what's happening. The right back, who's not the right back, is now out of position. And when Apolis gets the ball, he plays it to Moremi, who finishes it off nicely. And towards the end, while we're talking about the attack, you see the same thing. Stellies have the ball here, and then somehow they just give it away cheaply. Again, the right back is out of position. Who's not the right back, as I said? He once again fails to track his man, and then this was the third goal. But you have to see Stellenbosch in defense again to see how this one change affected them. So you have China kicking the ball long. Look at that back four. Perfect. And you can see as well the right back. He's right there with his back four. Pirates are about to attack. He's there in his position. You see Mfukeng was not allowed to play in the first half or the second half while Barnes was there because Barnes was staying very close to him. And then Enginaya was making sure that Hoto, if he overlaps, he's guided. Right? And once again, you see that he's there, staying with Hoto this time, Upans, and then Mfukeng will be guided by the midfielders, and the right back will be there. Once again, you see Enginaya's positioning. You see that he's inside, and the winger is outside of him. So he's ready. If they kick the ball long, he can just intercept, and they can start an attack. They play the ball forward. Where is Enginaya? He's right there to intercept the ball and play it forward. They bring on Apolis. Initially, Apolis struggles because Engina is always correctly positioned. Right? Again, the ball is being played towards Engina. Umremi comes on. He struggles initially because the ball, when Engina was still playing, was always stopping the balls. But with Mokobodi, as much as he stopped this chance, what happened later on is his positioning was suspect because you can even see here, he is running towards the ball. Now Hoto gets the ball. He takes a shot. He's out of position, basically. Same thing here. Mokobori is out of position. And even with the goal, look at him. You see that Umoloisane is pointing, telling him there's a man behind him. But it gets drawn to Mfukeng. And because of that, now Umoremi gets the ball. And then the ball is crossed in. And then that's how they finish the game. This was the second goal, but it came from Stellies and how they were set up defensively. Now, am I saying that Pirates did not deserve to win? No, absolutely not. Because even while Stellenbosch were still with Abo Barnes, they were threatening, and there was a moment like before he was taken off, that time you could see that Stellenbosch were threatening. But then the coach decided, I know people will say Engineer was injured, but he got fixed and then it was fine. Even when he was taken off, that's why there was a confusion when he was being taken off, because he wasn't sure why is he being taken off. Even with Upans, he was taken off, but because he's a team player, he just allowed it and he let it go. But the trick is here, Orlando Pirates were not lucky here. They did not fluke this. They won this game because there was a weakness in the team that they were playing against, which had not been there but appeared after the 70th minute, and then they started just making sure that they're pulling the thread. And that's what big teams do. Sometimes you don't get much. We just watch the Manchester derby. It's not that Man City were much better than Man United. It's just that Man City were able to also capitalize when Manchester United made mistakes. You saw there was a big save that was made by their keeper, Donnarumma, because, again, you can be under pressure, you can be attacked, but make sure that when you get your chances, you take them. And Pirates got their chances and they took them. So they are not lucky. They deserve to win because their plan, even when they were not working, when it was offensive, but when it came time where they had to be offensive, they were offensive and they just won the game. Even though Stellenbosch, if they did not panic with their subs, they would have stayed and they would have probably taken the game to penalties, which Pirates would have won because China is so good at penalties in any case. But what did you guys think of this game? Do let me know down in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, do make sure to subscribe to the channel. See you on the next one, and bye bye.